about your finances this evening because of the state of the economy. Let's go right back to the phones. Chris is online, and she's got a mortgage issue, which so many of us do. Chris, welcome to Politics Tonight.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm great. Go ahead.
I have a question about underwater mortgages. My first mortgage is not underwater, but when combined with my home equity loan, it is by quite a bit, about $90,000. I've heard something about some government programs where banks might be willing to help or, chop off some of the principal that's owed on the second mortgage. Is that possible, or is it better to walk away?
Yeah, banks are so helpful these days. Julie Murphy-Casserly, what's your thought about it? It's not what I'm reading.
No, I am not familiar with the program. Not that there's not one out there, but I'm not familiar with it. But really what you have to do with the home equity lines today is you have to look and see, is it a variable interest loan or is it a fixed rate loan? Because where your risk is that as interest rates start going up, you don't want that monthly payment to keep going up. And so if you're not able to refinance, then what you want to make sure that you do is start to add more into principal to get that thing paid down to hedge against interest rates going up.
All right, let's go to another caller. We've got Steve online. Steve, welcome to Politics Tonight. We're going to try and get in as many of you as you can. Go ahead, please, with your question. Steve, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question concerning debt-to-rate ratios.
Okay.
How do I raise my credit score in terms of? I started out with a 780, 790, and then I had my credit report ran again. It went down to like a 620, and I'm like, I pay all my creditors, and I'm wondering, they keep sending me offers.
Okay, let's find out. Let's go to 𝐾𝐻_Ďarvis and get you an answer.
There are many things you can do to try to improve your credit score. One thing you have to be aware of, some people think as long as you're just paying your minimums every month, you're fine. That's not true. What they're looking at are things like, let's say you are allowed on all your credit cards a total of $10,000 to charge. Well, if you charge the full $10,000, you look terrible on paper. So you want to keep it down to maybe just a third of what you're allowed to charge across the board on all your credit cards. That will help a lot. And that's the most important thing you can do in addition to paying your credit cards off on time. There are also a lot of different things that bring your credit score down that you never think of. So for example, you know how some companies will say they're going to give you a 0% loan for a year if you buy furniture or flooring? Well, that loan usually comes from a finance company. And when the credit scoring people see that, they think desperation if you go to a finance company, even though you're just being smart about getting 0% interest.
All right, so we've got to be careful about that. Gail, I want to get a couple of other questions in if we can. And let me go to you, Julie. A young couple wants to buy a home. They're going to put 3% down, Ryan on Facebook says, but the bank says we want you to have $25,000 in the bank. How are young people supposed to get ahead? You're a financial planner.
Well, right now today there's a lot of parents that are sitting on a lot of cash, and so when I've had to come up with creative solutions for my younger clients, it's about saying, hey, mom and dad, can you help to collateralize this and maybe go on a joint account with us? And even if it's not the children's money, that at least gives them the basis so that the asset can be tapped for them to qualify for a mortgage to be able to move forward. I think that's a great creative solution.
All right, 𝐾𝐻_Ďarvis, what do we expect the Fed to do tomorrow? There's hope. I mean, stocks have gone up a little bit thinking they're going to do something stimulative.
This is really a funny thing because one group of people is waiting for Ben Bernanke to come to the rescue and to do something stimulative. And the idea is that if he does, the stock market will shoot up because people will think Dad's coming to save us again. But there's another group of people that will be scared if he does something to save us again, because the last thing he did didn't really help that much, and it added to the financial problems that the country is facing.
So I got to give you 5 seconds. What do you think they'll do?
I think that they'll talk about something that will sound like something bigger than it is, because right now they don't want to risk as much money.
All right, 𝐾𝐻_Ďarvis, Julie Murphy-Casserly, great books by both of you. Let's check them all out. Thank you both for being with me.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. We'll have to do this again, and hope you'll join us tomorrow. My guest, Don Lemon, CNN author,